Hey friends, it's Ruben with Hi-Fi MIDI. This is Ample China Erhu, or ACEH, Ample Sound's sixth virtual instrument in their Ample China series. The Erhu is a two-stringed instrument and an ancient part of Chinese music. This library was sampled from 3 different Erhus to provide maximal playing range from D3 to G5 without resampling. I'll leave the system requirements in the description as well as a link to Ample Sound's website so you can find out more about it. But before we dive in, I want to announce that I will be giving away an Ample China Erhu license to 3 random people. To be eligible, you must be a subscriber and you must type in hashtag Ample China Erhu in the comments. The 3 winners will be announced 1 week after this video premieres, so stay tuned for that. Okay, let's take a close look at Ample China Erhu. ACEH is packed with articulations, performances, and features that make it a very expressive and emotive instrument. Let's start by going over the articulation sounds. Like its other Chinese instrument libraries, Ample China Erhu categorizes its articulations into 3 key switch groups: head group, body group, and special effects. The head group key switches, which are color-coded in blue, trigger articulations that start a note. Let's listen to those. C0 sustain. So on the higher velocities, you get that mordant. That's just a beautiful detail that just adds to the performance. So the best sounding notes are going to be in your lower range. I'll play the higher range in a little bit. As you can hear on those lower velocities, you get that portamento. Let's hear the high notes. So on the high notes, you hear more of that bow sound. That's really beautiful. Next is staccato, which is on C sharp 0. I do wish there was a little bit more dynamic control with this. It looks like dynamic is controlled with the expression wheel, so there is control over it, but not with velocity. Next is ricochet. That's going to be more of a bouncy staccato, and if you hold the key down, it's going to trigger a performance. And then D sharp is pizzicato. It does sound like there is a bit of dynamic control with velocity. This instrument has a banjo-like sound, which I really like. So it's more of a nasal sound compared to, let's say, a violin or something. Then E0 is whispering. So I would compare this to flautando articulation, or the flautando technique on a string instrument. So it's a very gentle, barely there sound, but you can hear a lot of that scraping of the bow against the string. It's really cool. And then F0 is sighing. So cyan has a bit of a slur to it, a bit of a grace note in there. The next group of articulations is the body group. Body group articulations are playing techniques that can be added after a note has started. You can trigger them in succession for a continuous sound. So F sharp 0 is crying. That's a really spooky effect. I think it's pretty cool. And then hoarse, not like the animal, but hoarse like you're sick from your throat. That one sounds more like a crescendo, but maybe that's what it's called in Chinese. G sharp is tremolo, and this is velocity sensitive. So the lower velocities are going to trigger tremolo, and then the higher ones are going to trigger grace tremolo. Let's listen to both. One thing I appreciate about this is that the type of tremolo is not dependent on the velocity of the key switch, but rather the velocity of the notes that are being played. This is much more functional, I would say. Then A0 is portato. So that's going to be a more expressive, shorter note with an accent. And as with the body group, you can re-trigger a body group articulation while the note is playing. And then A sharp is diminuendo, which is decreasing in dynamic. What I like about that is that it sounds seamless. Like it doesn't sound like it's cutting off the previous sample. It just sounds like it's a continuation of the same sample, but with a different technique inserted. All right, and then B0 is forzando, which is going to be an attack and a swell. C1 is expression or expressive, and if you have a note playing, let's say it's just playing it in one dynamic level, and you add that expression, it's going to swell and it's going to give more vibrato. C sharp 1 triggers vibrato. D1 is variable trill and trill, so it depends on the velocity. Variable trill is going to be triggered with the lower velocities. And the higher velocities will give you that trill. So if you notice, some of the trills are a major second and some of the trills are a minor second. This all depends on which key you're in the key window. and it's based off the Ionian mode. So in the key of D, we have D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. So if I'm playing a D, it's going to go to the higher note. If I'm playing a C sharp, it's going to go to the D. Let me show you again. So it will stay in that scale. That's a good feature right there. Of course, it will change with the key that you're playing. D sharp 1 triggers a mordant, which is a grace note that goes up and then down. And then an inverted mordant is on E1, which goes the opposite way. F1 triggers a double mordant, which is going to give you 2 of those grace notes. And then F sharp 1 is a full slide up. So what this is basically sliding up to a higher pitch and then back down. So rather than fingering that grace note, you're going to slide with the hand. And then G1 does the full slide down, which is the opposite. G sharp 1, slide in from below, so it scoops up to the note. And when you press it after note, it becomes slide out downward. A1 sliding above is the opposite of that. And then when you play it after note, it slides out. So you can create a lot of cool effects with this. And then my favorite, and something that actually takes up about half of this sample library, or more than half, is portamento. A sharp 1, and this is one of the most impressive aspects of this sample library. So let's hear some of those notes in portamento. So as you can hear, it's quite expressive and quite nuanced. So let's go on. B1 is virtual portamento. Because the other portamento is fixed, Ample Sound has created an option to give you more control over the slide speed, and virtual portamento gives you that option. However, it limits you to a major third interval. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to play a minor third. That's a low velocity. And I'm going to go a little harder. A higher velocity is going to give you a faster slide. There's much more control in that, although you do sacrifice a bit of realism. Anything higher than a major third is going to sound very fake and very thin, so Ample Sound limited that for that reason. So that's a good option to have, although I think portamento is going to suit your needs most of the time. C2 is going to trigger the licks, which are 37 performances by renowned Erhu player Ying Wang. I'm going to give you a few examples of those because these are absolutely stunning. Now, these are absolutely incredible, and I just played only a fraction of them. It makes me feel like a pro. So let's go on, and the next key switch is mirroring, which I've mentioned in other videos. What mirroring does, it takes the articulation that you played before and it reverses the sample. So it basically doubles the number of articulations that you have, or the number of sounds. But it does it in such a way where it sounds natural. Let me give you an example. ACEH was recorded with multiple microphones so that you can get different types of stereo images or different types of sound images. So right here we have presets AB, AB2, mid-side 1, and mid-side 2. So you have 5 different mic positions. You can solo those to hear the difference. You can also combine them, EQ each mic, or mute them and adjust the volumes. And you have your panning, you have your key, which I mentioned earlier. This is going to affect the samples that have multiple notes so that they fit the key that you're in. The expression pedal is just basically that dynamic level. Of course, this is MIDI assignable, so you can set it to any controller that you have on your keyboard, or you can adjust it in your DAW. Then here we have the effects menu, which is going to take care of your squeak sound, your bow release sound, and your bow attack. Here you have more of that attack sound. Now you have none, and you can adjust it to your taste or turn it off completely. The instrument comes in monophonic and polyphonic mode. Monophonic mode is only going to let you play one note at a time. Polyphonic mode will let you play 2 notes at a time. Now, if you're using polyphonic mode, try to not play vibrato, because I believe that's unrealistic on a real string instrument, or at least extremely difficult. However, you can play chords on this. And then there are 3 fingering position modes. There's A string, which focuses on the A string, and it's mainly used for pop music. D string mode. And then position mode, which automatically changes position just like the guitar plugins. There are 2 different types of legato modes. There's legato mode, and then there's portamento legato. Portamento legato is going to trigger portamento when you play in velocities 1 through 31. I'll give you an example of this. So the higher velocities don't have portamento. And then you have regular legato mode, which is going to trigger different types of articulations depending on the velocity of your second note. So on the higher velocities, you have that mordant. The lower velocities, you have soft legato. And then you have expressive legato that's higher than that. And then straight legato is 96 to 125. Then you have sample loop. If you turn it on, the sample continues and gives you a seamless repetition of the note. What I would like to have heard on this particular feature is that rebowing sound. That would have been really nice. All right, then on the right side of the instrument, we have our effects keys. So G#5 is going to trigger scratch noise. Kind of sounds like someone coughing. And then an A5 is a hit. Portamento effects is on A#5. And then B5 is horse. Now this is the actual animal horse, not the horse throat. That's pretty cool. And then C6 is a bird. This is velocity sensitive, so you're going to get different sounds. And then we have laughing on C#6. Give this video a thumbs up if that made you smile. Then we have crying, oh no, on D6. And then we have legato mode key on D#6, and this changes between legato and portamento legato. ACEH gives you double legato mode when you use the sustain pedal. So if I play a note and then play another one right after it, while holding the first note, if I let go of the second note, it goes back to the first note. This is good for playing trills. ACEH comes with presets, so you can hear the different types of sounds you can get from this plugin. Let's listen to a couple more. It reminds me of a hurdy-gurdy. So while I'm not an expert in Chinese instruments, I don't mind giving my opinion on the sound, features, and functionality of this VI. Ample Sound captures high-quality samples of professional-level instruments, and it shows. The sound is stunning, the instrument is expressive and easy to play, and the controls are simple to figure out. I did let them know that I would wish to have velocity control dynamics on the short notes, like staccato and pizzicato, since that's a standard feature in modern string instrument libraries. And they told me that would be an easy update. Other than that, this is an inspiring VI, and it makes creating Chinese music a lot easier. Friends, thanks for watching this demo and review. If you think I did a good job on it, give this video a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be the first to see my reviews, tutorials, originals, and giveaways. Leave a comment below letting me know what you think of it and share with your virtual instrument community. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.